wet dreams. Every night I go to sleep, I have wet dreams. Lie down, girl, and push it up, lie down, girl. Lie down, girl, and push it up, lie down, girl. Well, that was sung by Max Romeo in 1969. It became a hit, mainly because in the summer of 1969 the BBC banned it, and the summer of 1969 is what we're going to talk about today. And there seems a rather strange link between what we're going to talk about, the interview I had, and Max Romeo, but the link is blagging it, really, bullshitting. Because when Max Romeo was asked about his lyrics, which in those days were considered pretty racy, he said, when I talk about every night I go to sleep I have a wet dream, he said, I live in a shack in Jamaica, and it's got a corrugated roof and it leaks, and of course when it rains at night heavily, which it does there, it wakes me up with the rain going on my head. I like that, I thought it was great, and I had to do a bit of my own bullshitting to get a job in the summer, and it's one of the best jobs I ever had. And I saw a poster up in University College, I was at the Slade then, and it was advertising for people to apply as guides, as tour guides, private tour guides, taking rich Americans mostly around London and around Britain really, in their little cars or big cars. And but it did say, the advert said, it said applications are particularly welcome from public school educated and Oxford Cambridge undergraduates. Well, I was never done those things, so I thought I'll apply immediately, and I went to see them in London South Moulton Street, and here we go. Fantastic, Vaughan. Could you wait here a mo? We'll see you guys one at a time and then take a drive. He pops back into the room, leaving me sitting in a narrow corridor next to Toby in a cravat and blazer, and Simon in a suit, tie and yellow socks. Toby lets it be known that he is at Oxford, and he is also an honourable. Not that I use it, of course. Of course, says Simon. I'm afraid I'm merely at Cambridge, adding rugby in Cambridge. So it's my turn. I'm afraid I'm dishonourably at the Slade. Toby is called in first, followed by Simon. Only 10 minutes each, maybe less. Now me. In the tiny interview room, stacked with piles of papers, brochures, typewriters and 2 telephones, sit the man who invited me and a woman. Both are in their late 20s and both have public school accents. So that is ever around here except me, so I've got to get in first. I've not gone to a public school, although I have been to every other school going, and I'm not at Oxford or at Cambridge. Yeah, but you're a postgraduate at the Slade? Yeah. So where have you been educated other than that? Well, educated may be too grand a description. I think I'm self-educated. The woman interviewer gets in. An autodidact. Tell us more. This sounds interesting. Well, I started at Highfields, a preparatory school, and that was quite posh. And then I got into St Paul's Choir School, and I had to leave there for wetting the bed, and then into Savile Minster, as if it's down the road. It didn't matter if I wet the bed there. Then I failed the 11 plus. Then I went to Skegness Secondary Modern. Then I went to another secondary modern school, Newark Parish Secondary Modern, and then I ended up at Newark Magnus Grammar School. Well, I passed the 13 plus, but I hated it there, trying to be like a public school. I didn't like it. And then Nottingham College of Art. I say, old chap, how many more places? I'm losing track already. Oh, nearly there. I've got Wolverhampton College of Art and Goldsmiths, and now the Slade. Yes, you could rack a butt on education. More like a bit. Huh. We do specialise in educated clients staying at the best hotels who are looking for a personalised tour with an educated and knowledgeable guide, and a charming one. That goes without saying, of course. They're looking for a morning or an afternoon tour of London, or an all-day tour to places like Oxford, sometimes a couple of days. That may be, say, when they're ancestor hunting. You'd have to think on your feet, unless usually we have Americans, not always, some Japanese, but they have money and curiosity. Can you think of a one-day tour and what you would call it? My brain is racing. Let me think. What is it called? Oh yes, Bladen near Oxford, where Churchill is buried. Graves of the two greatest Englishmen? Huh? What? Well, it's just something to hang a tour around, you know. You get to Oxford and Stratford-on-Avon and see Shakespeare where he's buried and Cotswolds in between. Oh, I see, yeah, it's quite a good idea. But for Americans, maybe resting places of the two greatest Englishmen. Woman intervenes. What about in London? Well, Westminster Abbey, St Paul's, you know, changing the guard. Where the Virginia Company started. Americans would like that. And an old pub, the Cheshire Cheese or something like that. And something more thought-provoking. What about the grave of Karl Marx in Highgate Cemetery? You seem to like graves. Well, you can tell stories there. John Wesley's in Manhill Fields. Americans are religious. A lot of nonconformists are, aren't they? Okay, good. So what car do you have? How old is it and are you insured? I've got a VW Beetle, 1964, immaculate. My mother bought it for my brother and he will lend it to me as he doesn't need it over the summer and I'm insured to drive it. A Beetle, I see. Could take 2 clients. 3 at a push, says she. 1 American or 4 Japanese, I say. God, I shouldn't have said that, but I couldn't resist. Now my interviewers are turning to look at one another. She turns back to me. Vaughan, would you pop out of the room for a moment? Anyway, we'd like to see all 3 of you to take our Knowledge of London test. We'll be driving you around for half an hour and we'll be pointing things out, asking you to talk about them briefly, okay? We'll get in the car. Humber Hawk draws up outside undergraduate tours in South Malton Street and out hops the same man, one of our interviewers and now the driver and our examiner. Toby and Simon are waved to the back seat, me to the front. You'll be taking it in turns. I'll point something out and you can then tell me what you know about it. You first, Vaughan. Yes. Harrods, leading department store in London, used by royalty. Good, Vaughan. Point out the royal coat of arms. Okay. Simon. Sloane Square, Royal Court Theatre over there. And? Kitchen Sink plays first performed there, Look Back in Anger, things like that. You'll either have to explain Kitchen Sink or don't mention that bit at all. Remember you are driving and you'll be on to the next. Toby. Oh yes. Marble Arch. No, Toby. This is Hyde Park Corner. Marble Arch is at the north end of Park Lane. Oh gosh, sorry. For the next 20 minutes, Simon and I get nearly everything right. Poor old Toby, nearly everything wrong. Back to undergraduate tours. Could you all come in, please? There are 5 of us now, squeezed into a tiny office that is undergraduate tours. Well, I'm pleased to say that you have all passed. Toby, you need to do a bit of brushing up. Now you will each have a card printed which we will arrange. Yours, Vaughan, will simply say Vaughan Grills, graduate study student, Slade School, University College London. Yours, Simon Gulliver, Trinity College, University of Cambridge. Yours, Toby, the Honourable Toby Whittingstall Stanley, St Peter's College, University of Oxford. The woman now looks down at her notes. Now, Simon, have your father's Beetle. You have your father's Beetle. Your father's Wolseley. You, Toby, your own Jaguar. And you, Vaughan, your brother's Beetle. This means you, Simon, can charge £7 for a half-day tour in the Wolseley. And you, Toby, £9 for the Jag. And you, Vaughan, £5. And 50% of your fee goes to undergraduate tours. And you must tip the hotel concierge 5 shillings from your share for each tour he books with you. Any questions? Gosh, that sounds generous. What do we wear? Says Toby. Well, a dark suit and a tie or cravat and blazer, as you are wearing at the moment, Toby. And Vaughan, I'm afraid either the sideburns or the long hair has to go. Your choice. This is unfair. Toby's hair is longer and scruffy than mine, and he has sideburns. But he also has an honourable. Look how you're big and fat like a big, big shot. Give the crumpet to Bigfoot Joe, give your fanny to me. Lie down, girl, and push it up, lie down, girl. Lie down, girl, let me push it up, lie down. Lie down, girl, let me push it up, lie down. Lie down, girl, let me push it up, lie down in bed. Well, Max Romeo, 40 years later, he admitted that it's all bullshit about the roof, the tin roof. And he said, I wrote that song, but sometimes to do things like that, you need the devil in you. And he was right, because if you're going to do anything original and simple and original, any artist or scientist, I would have thought, you've got to kick over the traces. You've got to do something that's different, that's iconoclastic. And so old Max Romeo certainly did that, which is one of the reasons I remember him.